I wanted to come on and show you some of the ways that one of the ways that we build instruments, that I build instruments here for the custom guitars stuff. And we'll get started. So first off, we start with a neck blank. Neck blanks come in usually in standard sizes. This is a 4 by 1 inch neck blank. It's this in particular is a Spanish cedar, and it's very light and solid. And Spanish cedar is usually used for nylon string guitars and also other guitars, but you'll find them mostly on nylon string guitars. The grain is very straight. They tend to not warp at all, and in fact, you can take a look. They don't warp, and they're in. And these are nice and dry, ready to be built. And what usually happens is we just run it through our planer, make sure that we've got 2 level surfaces, and I'll run the hand planer across to get a square edge. And in this case, this is a long one. This is a 36-inch blank that I'll use for the guitars where the neck actually is very close to going right through the body. And on the 7 strings, it's just a little bit short of going through all the way. And on your standard 6-string instruments with a 25 or 25.5 inch scale, it does go right to the end of the body. And so I'll take a neck like this, and I will then, after it's been planed, I will take my router and I will route in the channels for the truss rod and for the carbon fiber rods. Now, for carbon fiber rods, this one's already got the carbon fiber rods epoxied in. This ensures that it is stiff, and in the end, what you want is it to be as stiff as possible, and only use the truss rod for as little correction as possible. You don't want to put too much additional force inside underneath the fretboard. I have had I've seen acoustic guitars. In fact, I destroyed intentionally a long time ago. I had intentionally destroyed a friend's acoustic guitar by it was badly bowed, and so I started to tighten the truss rod, and I kept on tightening, and before you know it, it actually cracked the neck in the back, split the neck wide open, and ruined the guitar. I would have back then, though. Unfortunately, I was not a builder or a repair guy as such, and so I ended up having to take it and have a new neck put on. But in this case, we put the carbon fiber in. I put in a clear epoxy that's going to solidify nice and hard, and epoxy the damn things in there so that they're nice and solid. Then I will get a dual action truss rod and lay it in there. There's no gluing. You're not supposed to glue in a truss rod because it's supposed to be able to move, to be able to issue the torque that's needed to either provide to straighten the neck or provide a little bit of relief. In some cases, you'll get very few. You'll get a neck that will actually bow backwards. It'll bow backwards, and then you end up using the truss rod. Even the strings won't have enough pressure to pull it straight, so you use the truss rod as a dual action to straighten it back to bring it back forward and give the strings a bit of relief there. So this is in process. It's going to get cleaned up. the epoxy. As I pour it in, I'll usually run a straight edge and just level it out, and then the epoxy it does as it dries, it goes into the groove a bit. So I'll put a very thin layer, another layer of epoxy in there, and to make it level with the surface, and then the truss rod, and then I'll put some guys will put a strip of wood on top of you can see it up there. We'll put a strip of wood on the top of the truss rod down to here, and we'll keep it from having any glue seeping in. Others I've seen they'll put a piece of tape across, and they'll make it very thin, but it will be secure. And then the rest of the neck gets a layer of tight bond, and then the fretboard goes on top. At this point, after we there's two ways of thinking. One is that we put the fretboard on, and then we measure and cut to size. So you can see I've got it's sort of penciled in right now for the rough cuts. I am going to cut this before I put the fretboard down, and get it prepped. And then, but oftentimes you can we'll put the fretboard on, and then measure it out and run it through the bandsaw and cut it to width. And this one is tapered. This is going to be a 7-string instrument, and once we get the fretboard on, then we start to look at the thickness of the neck. So this is right now it's chunky. What we'll do is I'll be taking off a tiny sliver of wood off of the top of the headstock, and then contouring it and drilling the hole for the access, like underneath the fretboard, drilling hole access to get at the truss rod adjustment, and then I'll be cutting it narrower along here. So although it's not going to take too much wood off, because when we get the fretboard on, it's another maybe 3/16 to 1/4 inch thick. So we'll take off about 1/4 inch, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 inch off thickness, down to where we know, as we've got the line here, that's where the end of the cutaway body is, and then the top will be in this area. But what we'll do is I'll contour it down to get a heel around here. That will be more determined once the body is shaped, and the channel where this is going to fit in will go in. So at that point, once we do the thickness and take care of the headstock, I come in with 2 tools. One is a rasp, and the other is my power grinder. And I will draw facets as to, I'll start with a 45-degree angle that will go to like halfway the distance between the top of the fretboard and the base of the neck, and a halfway distance of the width to the center. And so do 45, and then we'll just keep on taking facets down. Can do that with a rasp, or can do it with the power, with my power sander, power grinder. Very fast with a power grinder, but it also has the risk of actually taking too much material off because it's so quick, especially with such a lightweight wood as the cedar. So that's the next stage. At that point, then once we have a basic shape put together, this then gets laminated into the body, fits in, or in some cases, I have built some instruments where I actually will glue wings onto the body if I know that this is the finished thickness that I want it to be. I'll glue the wings in the body and shape it from there. and of course contour the heel. That's when we get to the stage where we are already got the basic neck shape. This is my 6-string neck on a beautiful piece of flamed maple, and it's got it has the epoxied in carbon fiber rods that go along the back of the fretboard. I've filled in the gap at the end of the truss rod with epoxy, and then the truss rod is underneath, and it comes out there. This is going to go through a more precise shaping, as I've left a significant amount of material on the outsides of the line. So I'll be getting my hand plane and my rasp and bringing it down, and with the planer I'll be making it nice and level all the way across, nice and straight. And then the headstock gets shaped. So in this case, the neck was a little bit narrower than what the headstock would be, so we glue on. I had some of these pieces of wood that I'd taken off from here. I glue them on to build up the edges of the points, and then we will do the same thing as I mentioned with the other one, but starting at this line, I'll be bringing it down maybe like 3/16 to 1/4 inch total, and on the front, maybe a little bit more, because I could put on a veneer on the front. We'll make the back take a significant amount of wood, like about 1/2 inch off the back, all the way down to, and as you notice, here's the line where that's where the body should start. So we'll contour it up for a heel, and then once we get everything nice and straight and prepared, leveled, I'll take my 12-inch radius sanding beam for the fretboard, make sure it's all nice and level, end to end, nice and straight and flat, with a 12-inch radius, and cut a little bit deeper into the fret grooves and start putting the frets in. So do that ahead of time. Press the frets in, get them all nice and the edges trimmed down, but not polished yet. We are still in the early stages. And then down here, we'll contour this down, nice curve along the lines of my Warwick base. We'll have it transition down as a curve using the disc sander, or the drum sander, and then on the top here, I'll remove about, like, from where the contour of the fretboard ends to the end. We'll remove about 1/4 inch, the thickness of a little bit more than the thickness of what the top is that's going to be going on the body. So essentially, take a strip off here. And then when we laminate it in, we'll make sure that new flat surface that we create is going to be level with the top of the body, the main back of the body, and that will then get us ready to put the top on. Now, I don't have anything in the in-between sections, but what I can do is I can show you how that translates. So let's show you. Essentially, this is how it would look. So we've got the body shape. This is how far the neck goes in. It goes in really close to the end. So it's essentially a through body neck. And then, as I mentioned, we take off a layer of the neck wood to bring it down to that level where the main body is, and that allows us to put the flat top wood, which in this case is the flame maple. And this is a 7-string instrument. This is available for purchase. It's has a matching flame maple control cavity and Fishman Toshinabasi Fluence pickups, 5-position switch, and volume and tone. But as you see, we get to a really nice finished state. The neck is appropriately thick. There is, you can see that it comes down. As I said, comes down, and then you've got a top layer of walnut on the headstock. And in this case, you've got the Steinberger straight bowl tuners with Graphtec nut. Everything's very nice. So hip shot bridge. These are the pots that came with the Toshinabasi set. They're 25K, and then powered. They're a phantom powered or a 9-volt powered battery pickups. That's it. So that's how we build instruments. How I build instruments. We've got these guys that are on the go. This is going to be really beautiful when it's all set up and done. It's going to go into a likely a swamp ash body that I've got. Could be alder. Haven't decided yet. This definitely is going to go. It'll have a dark. It will have a dark walnut top to it. And then this last one actually will be a variation. So I've said that we start off with the neck blank, but this one's going to get, we'll get ripsawed in half. And then we will layer, I will layer another different kind of piece of wood in the middle. I could do actually like rip it into 3, put 2 narrow pieces of wood in between, and with the laminates, you will get even a much more robust, much stiffer neck. Guys like the late Rick Turner and others use laminates to ensure that you get the stiffest possible neck, especially with basses. It's a necessity given the amount of string pull that you've got. So that's it. I just wanted to give you an idea of what we do. Like I said, this 7-string is available. It's going to go up on Reverb here, and this video is going to go with it. And we will we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.